MMA reporter Ariel Helwani has weighed in on the Irishman's testing history, and the situation is not a good look. He thinks the lack of testing seems super dicey since Mystic Mac hasn't been tested since UFC 264. But regardless of his doping history, the Notorious looks absolutely unbelievable, rocking the best physique of his life. Keep watching this video as we tell you everything Ariel had to say about the USADA Conor drama. First up, the Dana privilege. This isn't the first time Ariel Helwani has slammed USADA for its inconsistent testing history. The doping agency is known for turning corners when it comes to megastars like Brock Lesnar or Jon Jones. And with Conor not being tested even once in all of 2022, things aren't looking too good as the USADA is taking a lot of hits. Fans, fighters, and reporters have started taking swipes at the doping agency for letting McGregor off the hook as he continues to pack on a lot of muscle. Guys like Dustin Poirier have openly claimed that the Irishman is probably taking steroids, but it doesn't really matter since he'll have time to get clean before making a comeback. Helwani also thinks the USADA has just made the testing situation really confusing since inactive fighters are literally being rated by the doping agency, while fighters like McGregor, who've put on some serious muscle mass, are walking around with a clean chit. Also, this isn't the first time the fight world has raised its voices about Conor not being tested. It happened a couple of months back as well when people were annoyed about how he probably has the good old Dana privilege as he films his new movie with no care about being tested. So maybe all Ariel is trying to say is Conor has some Dana White privilege while fighters like Browne and Jon Hathaway are being tested. Next, is everyone clean all of a sudden? This isn't surprising at all. Helwani has always slammed the USADA for their weird methods and policies, like that one policy that requires fighters to update an app with their location at all times. What's the point of that? Whatever these guys take will show up in their system for days after, so it really makes no sense why the doping agency would have an app like that. But what's even more messed up is how everyone's gotten clean all of a sudden. Seriously, is no one doping anymore? The USDA did book some big names for taking banned substances at the start, but it just sort of faded after that. Think about it. When was the last time you actually heard of someone getting booked? Wait, scratch that. When was the last time a really big name got booked? Forget fighters. We can't even think of a single event that was affected by USADA in recent times. And like Ariel, we find it very strange how the sport and fighters have suddenly gotten so clean. Now, don't get us wrong. We think having a clean game is crucial to the sport. You can't have guys taking substances that enhance their performance. So while this is a really good thing, it's just super dicey. And as we argue about how USADA isn't transparent at all when it comes to their procedures, it's also a bit unfair how fighters literally have no say in what's going on. Fighters like Kamaru Usman and Paulo Costa were pretty much ambushed by USADA early in the morning before their fights, only to get tested at such an ungodly hour. Moving on, he might not be in the testing pool. Not a lot of people know this, but we've actually talked about it in one of our videos. While USADA can test any fighter in the testing pool, not being in the pool makes absolutely no difference. Don't get it? Say Conor McGregor is a part of the testing pool right now. That basically means USADA can test him whenever they want, and if he wishes to fight, he needs to be tested before making an appearance inside the cage. But if Conor were to be removed from the testing pool, it wouldn't affect his status as a fighter. He'd still be an active UFC fighter, but since he isn't in the testing pool now, the USADA can't magically get up and go test him. This is our take on the matter. We could be wrong. Maybe he does have the Dana privilege and the USADA has been asked not to test him since he's taking some medications to quickly heal his leg. And let's not ignore the fact that McGregor is a superstar. He's the most well-known fighter in the entire world, and that comes with a lot of benefits. So we're not really sure what could be going on here, to be honest. But as far as Ariel goes about the USADA being a really weird agency, he's 100% right about that one. Following up, the best shape of his life. Whether he's juicing or not is seriously not our concern. If it's so obvious to everyone else, then maybe USADA should pick things up and actually test the Irishman to shut down all the rumors. But until they do that, can we just take a second to appreciate how McGregor has transformed into an absolute beast? He's a crazy swole, and when we first saw him after the transformation, he looked more like someone who's competing in a men's physique competition and less like an MMA fighter. Mystic Mac has also been sharing a lot of videos of him working that leg, and to be honest, he looks really good. He looks super light, and at the same time, Conor is very confident, hopping around on it. We've said it before, and we'll say it again. Physical recovery always happens before mental. His leg might have fully recovered, but until he's actually confident to move around on it and use it as a weapon again, he's still going through rehab. And honestly speaking, it's 50-50. The only reason we'd suspect him to be on drugs is because of his leg. He might have needed a steroid or some other performance enhancement drug to heal his leg properly, since it would have taken much longer on its own. And while his physique is truly extraordinary, it's achievable if you take a clean diet and train like an animal. The Irishman has all the time and money in the world to eat the best food and get the highest quality training. So yeah, it's impressive, but it doesn't mean he's doping or anything. Up next, experts think it's not possible. Let's get one thing straight here. McGregor isn't an ordinary fighter. He's what we like to call a super athlete. In fact, fact, every fighter in the UFC is a super athlete. These guys have more strength, stamina, and endurance than the average human being, and if you put them in a life-threatening situation, they also have a higher chance of surviving since their bodies are made from adversity for adversity. But when experts say that Conor's transformation is not possible without the use of drugs, we just couldn't disagree. And like we said before, we don't know whether he's doping or not. We don't need to be guessing because there's literally an agency to figure that out. If USADA isn't doing its job, then that shouldn't cloud our judgment and call out the Irishman for being on steroids. Maybe the agency should test him so we can finally get past that debate. And even if we put the whole testing debate aside, what Conor has done in about a year after being injured is possible. It might not be possible for the average athlete, but when you have access to the best food, best training, and best supplements, building such an aesthetic physique as Conor's is totally possible. Last but not least, a comeback. With the way the former double champion is looking right now, we doubt he's going to be making a comeback in the lightweight division. A Michael Chandler or a Charles Oliveira fight seems to be his best option right now, but it feels like he's more interested in making a comeback at welterweight. Who he'll fight, we're not sure. Actually, we're not even sure whether he's going to make a comeback or not. But yeah, if we were to entertain that thought for a second, we think returning to his original division would be a much better bet for the Irishman. He has a ton of options in that. There's always been a lot of commotion around the whole Kamaru-Usman versus Conor McGregor fight as well, but that's another knot in favor of the Irishman. If he ever does decide to come back, we think Justin Gaethje would also be a really good option for him, but it's still unclear. Does he plan on cutting all the weight he's gained? Because he's super lean right now. He'll only be losing muscle if he tries to cut from here. If you ask us, we think it's time he hung up the gloves and focused on his acting career. That's it from our side, folks. What do you think? Is Ariel right about USADA cutting corners and favoring fighters? And is the Irishman really on something? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more entertaining videos in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.